What's up? What's up? How is everybody doing? Welcome to another edition of RossonARI TV. We do the news, AC Milan news. Today we have some new reports, new rumors, um, a whole bunch of interesting things that we're going to be looking at. Leao with some really nice words about his future. We have some news about Maignan. We have some news about the new rumors. And let's see how this algorithm does. Let's see how AI takes over the AC Milan Mercato. Anyway, let me say hi to Antonio first. What's up, Antonio?
Yo, what's up, Roy? I hope you're doing well. Good news. I think overall okay news today, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So we also have some stadium news too that we're going to be talking about, and in general, it's interesting. Listen, before we get into it, before we get into the news today, Antonio, you saw the Deserbi interview
Yeah,
yesterday on Bobo TV. I saw snippets of it. He said a lot of interesting things. What did you make out of it?
I thought it was a really entertaining interview. Also, you can hear me well, right? My audio's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really entertaining interview. I had a free night, so I just watched the entire thing. It was like 3 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Um, and he touched on Milan specifically a few times. Um, First of all, I've been watching a lot of Brighton, so I was interested in like what did Zerbi thought about like comparing different leagues and his process as a coach. He talked about how he still, even though he's a coaching in the Premier League, he watches maybe more Serie A than he does the EPL, which I thought was interesting. He still loves Serie A, so I feel like eventually he would love to come back, maybe later in his career. But that was interesting to me. I was also interested by before the Milan stuff. I was interested by his thoughts as like his like sort of knowledge, about all of these different leagues and players. He talked about his time at Shakhtar. He talked about all these different players, like sort of players that we talk about, like some sort of names around Europe that like he didn't really reveal who Brighton were going to get specifically, but he was like saying, "Oh, I like this player. Uh, he has good quality." Sort of talking about like how he molds players tactically. Um, so for me, and I can give you some name examples, but like he was talking about like random names. His time at Shakhtar, he talked about how he had Mudrik Solomon, who's now playing for Fulham, um, as wingers, and also Tete, who's on Lyon, and another
Neris.
right. Neres, correct? Yeah, he had all of them at Shakhtar. He was building a really good project, but then obviously the war happened, and he had to leave, and he sort of jumped on the opportunity to go to Brighton. Uh, just like sort of recounting his whole career, starting from City at D, all the way going forward. Pep Guardiola, Man City, different sort of tactics. He was arguing against people who basically like call him out, like think he's too, his teams concede too many goals or he risks too much. And it was pretty obvious that him, Cassano has an argument, always fights with Mourinho because Mourinho plays defensive, and so he's critical of him. It's pretty obvious that most of them on Bobo TV and Dead Zerbi are against defensive football. He said there is no one way to play, but he was sort of really advocating for this attacking football and that sort of style of play. And then in terms of Milan, he mentioned a few things. First, he talked about how he was from, as a player, he's from the Milan youth team, and how there was always a culture of winning, and sort of how that was super important to help him develop. Even though he didn't have the most successful career, he, as a player, he like took a lot from that. He said that like they would win a trophy, and then the next day they would be ready to win again, and they didn't even really like they weren't really too like celebratory or anything like that. They were just back to winning. So that sort of environment and culture was super important. So that was something I thought was really interesting. Then he referenced Saki, of course, like iconic manager and have that sort of tactical influence. Um, and then later he mentioned, I guess the other important thing was about CDK, because Donnie asked him about the Keteler, just because he was curious. He asked him if the Keteler should play number 10, and he didn't really get like a specific answer. So that was so he didn't get like a direct answer about like what he would do in that sense. So I don't know. I think I was kind of upset that like I think he got cut off or something, and they were having like a free flowing discussion. So he never just like said where he would play CDK, but he did say that De Ketelaere isn't like shouldn't be considered a failure yet, and his qualities are clear. He said, so he did think that he does have important qualities. So he thinks that he still needs time, and that like he didn't really like talk bad about De Ketelaere. Obviously, he said that some players end up being busts, some players take time. He mentioned Tonali and said that Tonali, while he was at Sassuolo, they tried to get Tonali on loan after his first year in Milan because he, like you guys remember, he wasn't really performing too well. So he tried to snag Tonali in a similar sense, but then we kept him, and then he obviously started doing better. So he kind of said the similar thing where De Ketelaere could be a player like that. So that was an interesting take. And then obviously one more thing, he talked about Paolo Maldini, and he said he was against it, and that kind of fed into the CDK conversation. So because he wasn't obviously Maldini, he mentioned he would train with him too, and he was at AC Milan. So just he has a lot of respect for him, like most people in the football world have respect for Maldini. So that was I thought it was really interesting. And also out of all the Italian teams, I feel like besides like Sassuolo, he talked about Milan the most, which is I thought pretty good. I would love to have him as a manager in the future, but I think now that he's in England, I don't know. I have a feeling one of the big clubs in England are going to get him after a few years.
Yeah, that whole Decathlon question was tied to the firing of Maldini, essentially. And one of the interesting things he said was, he compared, because essentially, yeah, they asked him, what is Decathlon a flop? And he said, you have to know how to read the development of youngsters. Some youngsters hit the ground running right away. Some of them you have to wait one year. Some of them you have to wait more. You just need to have and some of them never hit the ground running. But you don't know. You don't know. You just have to keep on being good at developing them. But one of the interesting things he said about Tonali that I want to add is he used these words. He was hoping that Milan, because he was sure that Tonali was going to explode. And after Tonali's first year, where he kind of flopped, he said he was hoping that Milan would fall for it, and that they would. He didn't. He suggested that maybe they would let him go, or you could take him on loan. He wasn't really specific about that. But yeah, so he didn't think. He doesn't think that. He doesn't think that CDK is necessarily a failure, but he's saying that we gotta wait and see. Anyway, very interesting interview there with De Zerbi. Uh, Antonio left; he's back. Let me get him back on. Okay, so yeah, let's see what happens with the future of De Zerbi. He might. For now, he's happy where he is. He likes being abroad. He says that his favorite league is still the Italian league. His favorite football is still the Italian football, but he is enjoying his experience in England, learning about new players, learning about new styles, and being surrounded by so many, top level coaches. We'll see what he does in the future. All right, let's talk a little bit about Leao and what he said. So Leao had a little bit of a love letter towards AC Milan, and let's talk about Leao. So, speaking during a press conference on national team duty with Portugal, the forward was asked about his recent contract extension with Milan and the potential that he could have chosen to head elsewhere. He explained that the decision to renew had been made long before it was communicated to the fans, and he's fully committed to winning more trophies with the club. The decision had already been made. This is what he said. The decision had already been made before signing the contract. Well, of course. I told the directors that it was what I wanted. When I arrived at Milan, the club supported me in any incredible way. I didn't think about any other club or about leaving. I want to make history at Milan, Leao explained. Leao is a vital player for Milan, but he's not a starter for Portugal. That is something that he seems calm about, though. No reason. When I arrive here, I don't think about that. I only think about giving my best. I don't think about being a starter or on the bench. I try to do my best and improve. I'll be happy, but the most important thing is to represent the national team, he said. Then let's keep on going. He was also asked about the possibility of Mehdi Taremi joining Milan this summer as a new striker, but he quickly shut down the discussion by explaining that it's not his job. That subject is not my responsibility. There are those who deal with it. I'm only talking about the national team, he said. Okay, so nice words. Leao has officially said it. He's officially put it out there. I don't think about any other clubs. Of course, he has to say these things right after signing a contract, but he wants to keep on staying with Milan and winning trophies with the club.
And Roy, just to add to this, a lot of this speculation was because PSG. Some sources said that first of all, there's a whole mess going on at PSG. In case people don't know, Mbappe could leave this summer, um, and so they're saying if Mbappe were to leave PSG, maybe thinking about Leao. Some sources are saying Romano just sort of said that that's probably not going to happen because Leao doesn't want to
Yeah,
leave. So that's sort of that like in the background of this whole situation.
yeah, I was going to get to that. It's basically tied to the whole PSG situation because he is linked. He has been linked to PSG. PSG also is a destination that many players definitely look at because there's a lot of money right there. But PSG is losing a lot of their big stars. Neymar out, Messi out. Mbappe does not want to renew his contract, so it looks like he's going to be out either this year or next year. So obviously, you have to. PSG has the resources and will have to, replace these top superstars with elite superstars. So of course, Leao is going to be in the conversation.
Random piece of news just now: Rangers are going to sign Sam Lammers from Serie A. I just got the notification. Just to kind of let you guys know.
Lammers, who was that?
I think he was an Atalanta player, but then he was like loaned out to other clubs. I don't think he was doing too well in Serie A, so he's loaned out. Or now he's going to go to the Scottish league.
Got you. Hey guys, before we keep on going, remember to click that like button. Do us that favor. Make sure to click that like button, and yeah, every time you click that like button, that means that we're one step closer to our targets. Trust me. Let's talk about the Sharks. EPL, the most dominant league in Europe, the big powerhouse, the Super League, is coming after our players. Daily Mail, and I'm sure that our management is salivating at the opportunity to sell any of our players so Mr. Jerry can pay his debt and we can start our Mercato finally. Daily Mail, Newcastle have internally discussed a move for Milan midfielder Star. So this is according to the Daily Mail. Um, let's see, guys. Remember, let's take every rumor with a grain of salt. A report by the Daily Mail starts by claiming that winger Alan St. Maxime has decided he wants to stay at Newcastle and play in the Champions League, which complicates her plans as he was being lined up for a sale to raise funds. Now, interesting. St. Maxime was another player that Milan was trying to get, but they weren't able to do that. It looks like this guy has no interest of leaving Newcastle now. He was on the verge of leaving Newcastle. Now, St. Maxime is looking to earn a new deal and will compete with Anthony Gordon for a starting spot on the wing, while he believes playing in Europe's top club competition can provide him with a platform to make the France squad also. Meanwhile, Newcastle are believed to be in pursuit of Leicester City's James Maddison, but the valuation of 60 million has seen them look at alternative targets, such as RB Leipzig Dominic Szoboszlai, who I would love to see at Milan, to be honest with you. The Milan adds that the merits of AC Milan Italy international RossonARI have been floated again. Jesus, who wrote this? Alan, were you Oliver? Were you drunk when you wrote this? Man, terrible, terrible article. The way it's written. So yeah, the Daily Mail adds that Tonali is also linked to Newcastle. Yeah, of course, guys. All our players are going to be linked to all these EPL teams, and let's see if we can resist. Let's see if we can resist. Anyway, I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. Take that with a grain of salt. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think you're going to talk about even more links with the EPL. The EPL are always going to be probing. They think that we're a small club. Like in all of the, like on all the Twitter comments and Instagram comments, they keep saying that, oh, staying at Milan is a terrible career choice. Like they act like Milan is just like never going to win anything when we've won the league. So they're just like uncultured young people. So
Yeah, no, the reputation of the Serie A is very, even more so right now. It's really bad. I mean, even with these three defeats in the European competitions, the whole reputation, it's even worse than it was before. Making it to those three finals, in the end, it's reputation wise, the Serie A has even gone lower. So yeah, we're going to expect a lot of banter towards the Serie A, expect a lot of that kind of shit.
and Roy, on top of that, also, unfortunately for clubs like Napoli, Inter, maybe Milan, but in particular, Inter, which I want to talk about later if we have time. Like that doesn't look like they're going to be taking positive steps forward because they have a lot of either financial or, in Napoli's case, Spalletti is going to leave. So I don't know. It looks like this year might have just been a one-off year.
It's kind of looking like it right now. Let's see. Let's see. At the end of the day, Visaria is always super competitive internally, which pushes the teams when it comes to Europe. But yeah, it right now today before the market officially starts, everything is looking very gloomy. Let's see what it's going to look like in August. Let's see what it's going to look like in August. As again, I'm not going to make this time, guys. I'm not going to make any predictions of the Serie A whatsoever until the market is done because it's really pointless. It is actually really pointless to do that.
Hey, there's a piece of breaking news from Longo, but I don't know if you want to talk about it later. It's relating to a specific player. If you want, I could read it, but I don't know if you want to jump to it later.
What is it related to?
Nelson.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, let's get that to later. So let's talk about Maignan real fast. Mike Maignan has been approached by Chelsea over a potential move, but he has rejected their advances, according to a report. According to Mercato, Chelsea have shifted their focus to Andre Onana, who has had a great season for Milan City rivals Inter. The Cameroonian goalkeeper is valued at nearly 58 million by the Nerazzurri, who would sell for a capital gain given their dire financial situation. Chelsea spoke with Milan about Maignan, who had publicly expressed his confusion after the sacking of Paolo Maldini last week, which alerted the London club to the potential opportunity to pounce on the unhappy player. A first offer was made by the Blues and it was quickly rejected by the Rossoneri. Above all, it has emerged that Maignan does not want to join Chelsea because they did not qualify for any European competition. It remains to be seen if Maignan wants to remain at Milan or if he might be more attracted to another possible other option which may present itself. Um, I believe this because right now going to Chelsea is financially it's an upgrade for everybody because they have more money than they can count. But like, why would Maignan go to a club that is not even competing? They're not even in the Conference League. Like, why would Maignan do that? But it also kind of does tell me that maybe if a club that is competing in Europe comes up and wants to snatch up Maignan, that there is a possibility that he might go. Again, right now we do not have 100% certainty and confidence that this ownership and management wants or has the ability to keep our best players. So I think we should be open to the idea that some of these players might go. Mike Maignan has not renewed his contract yet. So obviously, out of all the players, he's the only player that hasn't renewed his contract so far. So out of all the players that can go, Mike Maignan could be one of them. So yeah, let's see what happens. Antonio, are there any other teams in Europe that you know of on the fly that are looking for goalkeepers that might look for a new goalkeeper?
Yeah, I was actually going to comment about this. Luckily for us, most teams in Europe at the moment have like a solid keeper. I would say in England, Manchester United could be one just because there are some links that David De Gea might go to like Saudi Arabia or some maybe for money. So he could leave, and also De Gea has made a lot of mistakes, and so some fans don't like him, other fans like him. It's kind of like a strange situation. So and they're also in Champions League, so that could be concerning. In terms of the other like Champions League teams in England, no, because City has a keeper. Um, well, United, I just mentioned. Arsenal has Ramsdale, and I think they're pretty comfortable with him. Um, and I believe the last team is no, yeah, it's all the Champions League teams. Liverpool's got a keeper. Brighton don't really have. He would. I don't think he would go to Brighton. So in England, I think for now we're good. Chelsea's in 12th place, obviously, so they're probably the like not competitive for that reason. So I think in England we are pretty comfortable, and then in Spain, I mean, Real has Courtois, Barca has Ter Stegen. So most, even Bayern Munich has like two keepers. So for the most part, all the top clubs, PSG, Donnarumma. So I think right now, like the mega clubs are all happy with their keepers. So we're in a pretty good situation. And yeah, Maignan would never leave Milan for a club that's like, I guess, less like iconic or big or whatever you want to use for Milan. So I think we're in a good spot. Hopefully we can renew him this summer and address that because that would be optimistic. And also, I'm happy that we're only interested in selling him for big fees because that's what he's worth. And I'm excited. I'm happy for that. But the news seems positive.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so I don't see any other clubs right now, but of course during the summer anything can change. I don't see any clubs right now that are in need of a goalkeeper except for Chelsea, who obviously seems like they are. I was even thinking about Atletico Madrid, but they have Oblak, and Oblak is not going anywhere. So right now, I don't see Magnan moving because of because of these reasons. Yeah, yeah.
How great of a signing was he? I mean, we just locked them. We locked in one of the best keepers in the world. Like, I mean, I just
Arguably
want to
the
like,
best.
yeah, I think he's the best personally. But as long as the only thing about Maignan that I'll say is that somehow he gets injured every year, which is kind of strange. I think it's just bad luck. It's been muscle injuries, stuff like that. But like that's the only knock on him because I hope that he can stay healthy because if he does, then he'll break records. Honestly, he's so good.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. It was a wonderful signing, super intelligent signing, very cheap also. Very cheap and very intelligent. Yeah, listen, if we are to sell him, I don't know how much we're going to sell him for, but it has to be like a crazy amount, especially if he goes to England. If didn't Liverpool pay 80 million for their goalkeeper, some crazy number like that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact fee, but Allison was bought from Roma, so I
Oh
would
no,
assume that
no,
it was.
it was
So I
60
don't.
million.
Yeah, it was like I think it was north of 50 million. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we bought
So
Maignan for 15 million, and I think his wages are like maybe like around 2 million a year, 2.5. I forget what his wages are, but yeah.
yeah, before the firing of Maldini, the reports were saying that he was due to renew his contract and make somewhere near what Leao is making because he is seen as the he really is the most important player in the team in the end of the day. I mean, it really is him.
And
Of
also, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, just to add to that, he's also important. I mean, not just for his saving and defensive work, but the distribution aspect. I think Tomori and Kalulu, as good like when they were paired together when we won the Scudetto, the one thing that they're lacking is the sort of ball playing ability, maybe, especially Tomori. Kalulu's a bit better on the ball. But if we have a goalkeeper that can, like, send long balls with both feet, with like left and right, and he can dribble, pass, play from the back. He really is a modern goalkeeper, and I honestly don't see any weakness in his game besides the injury aspect. In terms of, but when he's actually playing, I still stand by my point. There is no like point weakness in his game, which is just remarkable to me. One of the best penalty saving goalkeepers. Great in the air, even though he's not super tall. Reflexes are among the best. So that and just having that modern aspect makes him so desirable for many clubs. I think like De Zerbi talked about how he swapped his goalkeeper at Brighton because he could play a bit better on the ball, and that's such an important aspect to the way that Zerbi wants to play. So I think this is such a desirable trait. Like Pep has Ederson, those keepers that are may not be the best shot stoppers, but
Yeah.
they're really good with their feet, and we have the best of both worlds with Mike.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. I don't think selling him would be a good idea because like what if he's not the best, he's the second best. The conversation is either him or Courtois. It's those two. Those are
And
the
now
two
they're
best.
trying to sneak in. They're trying to sneak in Onana in the conversation, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not as good as Mike. I think
Onana,
Onana's shielded by the fact that Inter have a great defense as well.
no, but Onana obviously that deserves to be considered in the top 10 for sure because he definitely showed he's very good. Also, great. Onana has great personality, great charisma. But going back to this conversation about Maignan, um, also now that we don't really have leaders anymore in this club like Zlatan, I mean like super leaders like Zlatan, and especially someone like Maldini, you need someone to take the reins of the big boss of the player that everybody looks up to, the player that can drive everybody. And out of everybody on the pitch, I see Mike Maignan as being that player. So not only he's important, between the sticks, but he's also important in the locker room because his leadership skills are going to be needed more so than ever this next season because we've lost the alpha of the pack. We've lost the two alphas of the pack, Maldini and Ibra. Right now, there are no alphas outside of the locker room. So someone needs to take the alpha role. And to me, looks like Mike Maignan has the qualities to be that player, to be that person. All right, so yeah, positive news regarding Maignan so far, but the summer is long. Let's see what happens with that. So let's see what happens. All right, so you wanted to talk about Nelson. What's going on with Reese's Pieces, Nelson?
Give me 1 second. My audio is cutting out.
Alan says Nelson has reached an agreement with Arsenal regarding the numbers, but he is considering his future. Yeah, I did see this. So it looks like another target that we're going after has now slipped away. A lot of the targets, listen, from a PR standpoint, this new management, especially with the way they fired Maldini, because it was pointing the finger a lot of Maldini, it's not looking very good because all their targets are slipping away. Indica had his medicals at Rome. Indica is gone. Um, Tielemans is gone. Thuram, I don't think Thuram is going to sign. We will see. We'll talk about it later. Nelson, another player now, but is gone. And the list keeps on going and going and going. They kind of came into this Mercato with this kind of panicking kind of situation, trying to go for these players. It looks like all their targets are slipping away. And these were the free players too. Unfortunately, but I it's going to be a very strange Mercato again. Another year where the Mercato starts late. Last year the Mercato started late, and now this year the Mercato starts late. What's up, Ernesto? Come stai? Ernesto says, Inter budget is zero. Yeah, it's minus zero actually, minus whatever. When we renewed Leao, Jerry saw it as 100 million check he can cash in until 2028. Yes. Okay, so we're going to wait for Antonio to come back. In the meantime, let's keep on going with these reports. Let's talk about Thuram. That's what I wanted to talk about, actually. So Thuram, another player that is on a free The summer of opportunities seems to be fading away before it even starts. So let's see what the situation is with Thuram. French forward Marcus Thuram has issued a set of demands for his new club, which could potentially scare AC Milan away. Guys, Thuram at this point is out of the question. I already know what this report is going to say. I'm going to share with you. We're going to discuss it together. But at this point, Thuram is another player that is out of the question. As has been reported by Sport Media Set, the Planeta Milan, the Borussia Mönchengladbach striker, is clear about what he expects to receive from any club that wants to sign him. Milan have been very firm on their interest for a few months now, and given he's available in a free transfer, it would certainly be a great move to get done for the Rossoneri. It may never happen though, as the player has asked for 10 million signing on fee and a 4-year contract that will see him earn 7 million per season. So all this hype that he's getting for nothing because this guy is not that special of a striker, this is what it leads to. This is what it leads to. This guy 7 million per season. In what world does this guy deserve 7 million per season? What has he done to deserve that? And in what world would he do that? Well, obviously, this is a message to PSG. This is obviously a message to PSG. He's obviously calling for PSG. And he probably likes he's French, so he's connected to his home country, to France, and he probably likes the project. He probably does like the project, and he sees the opportunity there because a lot of attackers are leaving, so he sees the opportunity. But there's no way that this guy is going to come to Milan if these numbers are true. Those figures immediately put him in the same financial arena as Rafael Leao, who is the most important and valuable player in the squad. Milan could be forced to walk away if he stands by those demands. Yeah, these numbers pretty much say ciao to Ram. And also, one more time, what has this player done to even earn these kind of numbers? Absolutely nothing. For me, this is a good thing. I don't think Thuram is the solution for AC Milan. AC Milan is a club that, in order to find success, needs really good players, top level players, players with exceptional feet. That is the key secret ingredient for AC Milan. Players with exceptional feet. And Thuram, his qualities are different. They're different. They're not necessarily that. So honestly, I welcome this, and I hope this management sees these numbers and says, "Okay, bye, Turam, peace out." I like that. I like that. Antonio, any thoughts on this news report?
How's my audio? Good?
Yeah, yeah,
Is
it's
it
good.
coming out clear?
We can do.
Perfect. Good. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure. But anyways, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not really too big into Turam. The only thing is, with that, if we're not getting Turam, I wonder who else, in terms of a striker, we're gonna get, because it looks like Roma is going after Scamacca. Um,
Yeah, we'll talk about Venice. Yeah,
and at the
go
same,
ahead.
also just to point out, Ndika, I'm sure you said is a done deal to Roma as of today.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so another target that we missed, but yes, Scama. So I don't know who else we're gonna look for in the forward position, honestly, if we can't get them. So I don't know. I guess I'd rather sign Turam than nobody. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, of
We'll
course,
see.
the nobody's sure, but obviously those numbers. If we sign Turam at these numbers, then I will really be questioning the integrity of this team and the ability of this team. Like that's just insane. So at this point, I think the Turam thing is gone. It's out the window. There's zero chance. And listen, I do want to go to Skamaka next because that is basically where this newscast leads to. But before that, let me just go to chat. Sempre Milan says, "Hello, I'm from India. Sempre Milan, what's up, Sempre Milan? How you doing, my man? Welcome. This summer, Roma stole some players from us. Yeah, Arar, Indica, and now maybe Skamaka. All players that are linked to us. Thuram is a good in a bench for PSG, and PSG has the ability to pay these numbers for bench players. Now, guys, remember we were linked to Diallo, that left back from PSG. That guy is a bench player. I remember looking at his wages on Capology. He makes more than all of the players in Milan. He makes more. He earns more than our biggest earners in Milan. So yeah, I think PSG is a great opportunity for players to make a lot of money, and they're going to take advantage of it for sure. And when
Hey
they're
Roy,
linked, yeah,
quick question: have you heard anything about? Speaking of Roma, have you heard anything about Jose Mourinho and whether or not he's going to stay?
I mean, Jose Mourinho looks like he is staying with all the players that he's getting.
Yeah,
He's
because I guess I heard that PSG like him, but I guess now PSG want to get Nagelsmann. I believe. I'm not sure. Um, so we'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, I've heard those rumors. After the final, he said he wanted to stay at Roma. He said he as long as the management supports me, he's going to stay at Roma. Right now, if I'm a coach of Roma and I'm getting all these players, of course they got to find a replacement for Abraham. So let's see who they find. But Roma right now is stacking up. So let's see. Already they're starting off pretty well. They're starting off pretty well. T Rex says they should definitely try hard for Gundogan. I 100% agree with you, T Rex. Goodbye, said yeah, especially with United getting bought by the Qatari. Yeah, that's right. Roy, did you see what Leao said in press conference? Yes, we already spoke about that about 10 minutes ago. For sure, yeah. Good words. Milan Jerry out, Maldini and Bob back. That'll be perfect. Um, bro, what is Cardinale doing? I kind of have a sense that they're a little bit panicking right now. There's a little bit of panic there, but let's see. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they have everything in control. Everything under control. T Rex says ruining Milan. Jamal Olish says an SMS is going to Inter. Guys, even though Inter has all these financial problems, they're being linked to a lot of players. Obviously, they're selling players, and maybe they are going to get a cash injection. Who knows? Who knows? Roy, get over it. We aren't fucking buying no one. Listen, I don't know who we're going to buy. Whoever it is, we are going to report it for sure. This summer for us is a nightmare. Just rumors. I'm scared of Roma. Yeah, I hear you, my man. I'm in shock after read about Maldini's sack. I don't know the owners really know our history or not. It does. It honestly. Listen, I don't want to talk about the whole thing. We've spoken about it so much, so But just to answer you, Sempermina, let me tell you something. In these past 30 years, while our previous owner Berlusconi won 29 trophies, it is a fact. This is a pure fact. Jerry Cardinale didn't even know this club existed. So all these years that Milan was winning Champions League trophies, Ballon d'Ors, whatever, not Jerry Cardinale didn't even know the club existed. So that is a fact. But listen, we're not going to talk about that too much. Okay, a little bit more chats, and then we go back to the news. And guys, remember, click the like button, help the channel grow, help the Milan community grow. And every time you click that like button, a new rumor comes out. At this point, I highly doubt if Kamal is going to come. Samaris or Lazar Samazovic, nobody will come. Well, guys, let's see. Let's be patient. Obviously, players are going to come. Then we'll find out whether or not the quality of these players is good or not. Okay, Antonio. So let's go to Scamacca. So Scamacca is a player that obviously had a very poor season in West Ham, but a player that definitely has qualities, no doubt about it. No doubt about he's got qualities. He scored 6 goals in all competitions, which is very poor from him. But West Ham is just a club. You guys saw how West Ham plays against Fiorentina, right? That was the first time I saw West Ham, and I understand why he doesn't fit in that club. Like in West Ham, players like Scamacca don't really help. In a club like West Ham, you need different quality players. More like that guy Anthony said in the interview, you get a lot of scrappy balls at West Ham, and you have to improvise. You have to do. It's more of a physical game. It's more based on that. Scamacca is more built for a more organized game, a possession game. Uh, he's more Scamacca is built for Italian football or Spanish football. or Guardiola kind of football. Definitely not for that kind of scrappy, bottom of the table English football. So Scamacca definitely for his career he should move, whether it is at Milan or Roma or wherever not, he should move. But these are the reports. So let's look at Scamacca. Roma have already beaten AC Milan on the signing of Evan Indica and are now looking to win the race for another target. According to calciomercato.com, Roma are aiming to close the signing of Gianluca Scamacca with director Tiago Pinto expected in London by the weekend. These guys are on the move. They're making moves to hold talks over the potential arrival of a striker. Scamacca has put the Giallorossi top of his list of preferences, despite the fact Milan and Inter are in the running too and can boast Champions League football next season. West Ham are willing to let him leave. Sorry. West Ham are willing to let him leave. We'll have to discuss the conditions with Roma, including the amount for the loan and a possible option or obligation to buy. Pinto will like a loan with a simple option to buy or an obligation linked to qualifying for the Champions League, while the London club want an obligation with no conditions attached to it. So this is similar to the Zaniolo operation this January. It's actually exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So actually, this condition here might be a problem for Roma. This condition here might be a problem for Roma, and maybe this can be good for Milan. Let's see. Let's continue. The will of Scamacca should also be key, given he is enthusiastic about the idea of returning to Roma, where he spent time as a youth player and potentially reuniting with his friend Davide Frattesi there. Interesting. Interesting. Now, Scamacca, I think, would be a very good signing for AC Milan. I think he has the qualities. Out of all the center forwards that I've been looking at in these past years, he's not the most prolific one, but in Italy, he was quite prolific. He scored 16 goals at a young age, 22, 23. That's not bad in his before he moved to West Ham. But he has the qualities of a center forward that can also be somewhat of a regista up top, someone that can organize, help the midfield come up in an organized fashion where we don't have to play all these scrappy balls left and right. So he definitely has those qualities. Scamacca, I think, would be a good signing because you can get him free on a loan, test him out, and then whether you want to get him or not, you can find out next year. But if you do get him on a loan, and if he does perform, then buying Scamacca is a no-brainer for the fans who don't want him right now, who maybe are on the fence about him, and for the management. So it is a very interesting opportunity. Also, Antonio, any words on Scamacca in this operation?
How's the audio?
Yeah, I can hear you and your dog.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise. But listen, I wanted to just say that De Zerbi also spoke about Scamacca in the live yesterday, because obviously Scamacca was a Sassuolo player on loan during his time there. He said that he talked to Scamacca and he said he was very interested in coaching him, but then it didn't work out because he left for Shakhtar. And he spoke and talked about like his qualities, aerial ability, but also his ability to play that sort of game, like possession, like he wants. Because he'd rather play with the ball on the ground. So
yeah, exactly.
Derby does really like this player.
Yeah, no, exactly, guys. So listen, if De Zerbi says it, then shit, I didn't even know De Zerbi said that. So if De Zerbi says it, guys, why we even, no point of even questioning. I mean, that reinforces my idea. If you want a player that can play, let's just call it tiki-taka or whatever, a player that can ball on the ground, link up with your midfielders, help the midfielders come up, Scamacca is the one. Also, he scores some bangers. He's a very technical player, scores some bangers. Now, what does he not have? Maybe he doesn't have exceptional speed like maybe a Thuram has. Maybe he's not a player that will look for depth, but You don't really need that if because you already have Leao. Leao can provide that aspect of the game. So it'd be pretty much similar to when we had Ibrahimovic 2 years ago, when he would play as an offensive regista, pretty much, and then the wingers would take care of the depth. Now, of course, I'm not saying Skamaka is Ibrahimovic, but it is that typology of player. Um, are we still linked to Zaniolo, or is he out of the picture? As far as I know, the ownership did not want to get Zaniolo, and the ownership was against the Zaniolo operation. So now that Maldini is out of the picture, I think Zaniolo is out of the picture as well. I understand Dika to join Roma for play time, but Skamaka for Europa League, I don't think so. Yeah, and I think these play like Skamaka to have the opportunity to play in the Champions League next year. I mean, if I was Skamaka, I'd be pushing for AC Milan. I'd be pushing for AC Milan. For sure, for sure. How do we make sense out of all of these links? Well, listen, let me tell you something. And because Antonio and I have been doing this for a few years now, every summer we're going to get many links, many links. And out of 50 links, usually 5 or 6 of them end up happening. But of course, right now, guys, every club is talking to all the players, so there's a lot of action happening. Okay, Antonio, let's move on to stadium.
Big stadium.
So, what do we know about the stadium? What do you have?
Yeah, so as of today, some people in Italy, some journalists are reporting that the first phase has been initiated for Milan doing a stadium by themselves at the San Donato location. Apparently, some paperwork was signed. I think it said something around 600 million, that would be the total cost for like the entire project, which is 600 million euros, which is a lot of money. Um, and it looks like we're starting to try to move in that location. However, the mayor of San Donato, of course, has to approve and has to there's some bureaucratic issues with that as well. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, so a little bit of advances in the stadium talk. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this again. You guys know how I feel about this ownership, and how they and the sacking of Maldini, the way it was done, for me, very bad. I've spoken about it many times. Not happy about it at all. But one thing that this ownership is going to bring to this club, which is going to be an exceptional thing, something that is going to help this club find its way back into the pantheon of elites, is the stadium. So now that we have news of advancements in the stadium, this is good news. This is good news. The fact that it's going to be our own stadium is even better news, because I don't think that sharing a stadium is a good thing, even though it reduces the costs. But it is a long-term project, because after you build the stadium, then you have to pay for it. So before we get to the point that Milan is going to be up on top, it's going to take a while. Unfortunately, yeah, things are. This is a long-term project. Milan now has entered a long-term project phase, but this is good news. Balogun is a very interesting player. I think Balogun would be a great player to sign. Unfortunately, it looks like Arsenal might bring him back. He is an Arsenal player. So, and right now, I think in order for us to get Balogun, we have to sell. We have to sell players, because if the reports are true, Milan has a 30 million budget. With that 30 million budget, you know, you can't do anything with a 30 million budget. Obviously, obviously, guys, let's use our brains here. Milan has to sell players, and they're going to, if they want to, invest in the market. That's the way it's going to be. I don't see Cardinale injecting the club with money. It's either you sell and then use the money from the sales. Roma has Tammy Abraham. Why would Scamacca turn down a chance to be almost guaranteed striker in the UCL team? Roma must have insane pull right now. Actually, Tammy Abraham.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Tammy Abraham, before I let you go, Antonio, had an ACL. Can you mute Antonio,
Yes,
please?
I apologize.
Uh, Tammy Abraham had an ACL injury. He won't be back till Christmas, essentially, and we know that he won't be back till next season, essentially. So they lost Tammy Abraham for the full season, because when these ACL players come back, it takes 6 months for rehabilitation and to get back on the field, and then it takes another 6 months to get back to 100%. So that's why they're going in for Skamaka. Antonio, go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully the audio is okay. I just want to say that the thing is this: Roma, okay, they have some pull, yes, but if Milan was really invested and wanted to make a move, then we could easily pull him away from Roma, in my opinion. It's just that we're not committed enough. Like we're linked with all these players, but we're not. Either it's the wages, or it's the transfer fee, or it's the loan formula, but we don't like the terms of how we get him because we're being very very minimalist. So we're not as serious as Roma is. That's the thing. That's what's like stopping us at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like that. So basically, as far as if that report we read was true, basically what West Ham wants is a loan with obligation to buy whether you make the Champions League or not. But Roma basically says we'll take the player with obligation to buy, but no, only if we make the Champions League. So West Ham is saying, I don't care if you make the Champions League, you're going to slap this obligation to buy whether you make it or not. Now, this is what halted the Zaniolo operation. It was one of the things that halted the Zaniolo operation in January. Now, I would like to see Milan say yes because we are confident we're going to make the Champions League, but I doubt that's going to happen. So, on another hand, I look at this two ways. I don't think Milan has right now the balls to do that. Right? It depends also on what the price is. And or Milan does have the balls to do that. We will find out in the few days. Yes, Scamacca. We just spoke about it a few minutes ago. Scamacca, West Ham. It's a club that cannot work for Scamacca. Scamacca needs to play in a club that plays different kind of football. But guys, don't get it twisted. Scamacca is an exceptional football player. The ball sticks to his feet. He has incredible coordination, body movement, coordination, and he has that tiki taka kind of style of play. Obviously, in England, especially in the lower teams, it's not about the tiki taka. It's about those scrappy plays. It's about running, depth, physicality. It's a completely different game. Scamacca should have never gone to West Ham. Scamacca should have never gone to West Ham. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about this interesting article right here regarding 500 million target, Gazzetta dello Sport. So we're going to marketing and all of that stuff. Jerry Cardinale, AC Milan legend Jerry Cardinale, has a next step in mind when it comes to the commercial growth of AC Milan and the plans for the club to become as self-sustainable as possible. La Gazzetta dello Sport outlined the Milan's path from making nearly 200 million in losses to what is projected to be a profit for the 22-23 season. Talking about how a boost in revenues from the Champions League journey plus new deals with sponsors like Puma and Emirates helped. The great challenge of Cardinale's ownership is closely connected to the ability to bring Milan in the medium-long term to a turnover of 500 million. For context, in the first 6 months of 2023, they amassed 144 million in revenues. It will not be easy to repeat the run of the UCL semifinals every season. Yes, exactly. So a lot of the revenue coming in is because of an exceptional Champions League run. You have to repeat that every year. These clubs that are the richest clubs in the world are the ones with the most power. One of the things they do every year constantly is have deep runs in the Champions League every single year. And maybe one year they don't, but then the next year they're back in it. So Milan has to be able to do that in order to be at that level. So it is important that AC Milan legend Moncada, AC Milan legend Frugliani, AC Milan legend Jerry Cardinale can build a team that can repeat these runs in the UCL. Because if you are every year a team that barely struggles to go through the group stages, then forget about it. Then forget about it. Okay, it will not be easy to repeat the run to the UCL semifinals every season, so new stadium is crucial to reaching the 500 million target, given the most projection believe it will bring in around 80 million per year minimum. And that's not even that much. On field, success is key in maintaining constant access to international markets and the continuation of growth in sponsorship deals. Monetizing the redevelopment of the brand is key, as it went from 153 million in 2021 to 358 million in 2023, according to Brand Finance. So the growth of the branding growth of AC Milan has been exceptional, the best in Europe, the best out of all clubs. This credit needs to be given to the ownership, from Elliott also to Redbird, the people that they put in charge for the branding. You have to give them credit for the work they do. They're obviously working very hard, and as you can see, the numbers doubled. They essentially doubled. They more than doubled. But everything needs to coincide with what happens on the field. If this team is a team that struggles to make top four every year, never goes through the group stages, and it doesn't become a competitive team in Europe, the branding of this team will deteriorate. So it is important that the on-field activity stays up to par. The seriousness came from Maldini even when we offered less wages or lower transfer fee. Players chose us. No, Fazal, I definitely, going back to this aspect of our Mercato, yes, everybody here knows that when Maldini is on the phone and he talks to you, you listen, and you are very interested, because Maldini is a very unique person in the world of football. But listen, the Maldini era now is gone, guys. It is gone. So let's see what these guys do. Let's see what these guys do. Um, yeah, let's just see what they do. I mean, there's nothing else to it. Let's see which players they can bring. The thing that I am hoping is that the players that have been growing under the tutelage of Maldini and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, they can now take over. They can now take over the reins, and they can now transmit that competitive nature, that mentality to the new players coming in, and they can interpret that on the pitch. So that's the only thing that we have. That's the only thing. Like Maignan, his leadership on the pitch, Leao, his will to become a Ballon d'Or player, Tonali, his Milanismo, Teo Hernandez, his crazy competitive nature, Tomori, his love for this club and how he joined this club, and his ambitions. Basically, all of these players now got to get together, and they have to transmit the Milanismo that Maldini did. So we will see if they're going to be able to do that. AC Milan legend Cardinale, man, you're hilarious. Yeah. We have to look forward and hope for the best. Yeah, at this point, there's nothing else we can do. Listen, okay, I didn't want to talk about this, but let's just open a quick parenthesis here. What Jerry Cardinale did with Milan, how they fired Maldini, was unacceptable. This is not Milan. It is not why I fell in love with this club. It's not why any of you guys fell in love with this club. You fire someone like that with much more dignity. You don't just release a 2-sentence press release on the internet, but you do it with dignity. And also, again, we spoke about this. The Maldini Jerry Cardinale marriage should have never happened. It wasn't bound to happen. They both were rowing in different directions. So we knew from day one that if Milan and Maldini didn't win the Scudetto last year, Maldini would have been fired right away. as soon as Jerry bought the club. So let's shelve that. Let's put that in the shelf. Let's put that in let's put that away for now. Let's see what these guys do. Unfortunately, we do have to be realistic. The people that own us, their ambition is not for us to become, a glorious club. We did know previously that when Maldini was at the helm, he wanted the club to be glorious and bring back the club to its former glory. So that was something that we could hold on to. Right now, we don't have that anymore. But let's move on. Let's see if the players can do that now. Let's test the players. Let's see if the players can bring that mentality to the club. Let's see if they can do that. All I care about as a fan is the field stuff. Players, performance, coach results. I won't be celebrating their financial gains if there's no progress on the field. And I completely agree with you, Andy. I completely agree with you. Um, I don't care about that other stuff too. We don't watch football because of the successes that happen in the offices. You watch football because of what happens on the field. So I completely agree with you and your notion here. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit about Brahim Diaz now that he is gone. Let's see what he says about Milan, and let's see what he says about his future. Brahim Diaz has thanked AC Milan for the memories shared and what he learned while on loan, but he has admitted a return to Real Madrid was always his priority. Now, we all knew that. We all knew that Real Madrid is his first love. Real Madrid is where he wanted to play. All of us, except for a few people, had already figured that out. Listen, before I get into this, I thank Diaz for his work that he did with Milan, but I did not like the operation one bit. I do think that Diaz is going to keep on growing, and eventually he's going to become a really, really valuable player. He already is somewhat of a valuable player, but I do think once he gets in his 26, 27, 28, later on in the stages of his career, he's going to be a very, very valuable player, good player. But c'est la vie. Peace out, Diaz. See you next time. Early in the week, Real Madrid confirmed that the Spaniard has returned to the club after 3 seasons on loan at Milan. But RossonARI initially wanted to keep the number 10 on a permanent basis, but ultimately Los Blancos have brought him back to the Spanish capital. There were a number of reported factors feeding into that, such as Milan apparently hesitance in paying the asking price, but Real's desire to instantly replace the outgoing Marco Asensio, who went to PSG. It must be nice to be Real Madrid, to have the ability to park these players, good players, in top clubs, legendary clubs like AC Milan, wait for their current players to expire their contracts, and then when these players expire their contract, you just bring in that player that you parked in that legendary club called AC Milan. It must be really nice to be Real Madrid, guys. It must be really nice to be Real Madrid. Brahim spoke at his presentation ceremony alongside Florentino Perez, who gave his own thoughts on the player's growth as well as paying tribute to Silvio Berlusconi. His comments were relayed by calciomercato.com. He said, "Thank you, President, for your trust. Thank you for the signs of affection and for considering me to continue writing the story of the best club in the world. I know what this shirt means and I represent Real Madrid," he said. "Today is one of the best days of my life. I'll be back more prepared and eager to improve myself. As I said on day one, Hala Madrid, only Madrid." Wow. Man, football is crazy. Until the end, let's go Real Madrid. Jesus, it keeps on going. You just have to see what they have achieved in 21-22 season. It's the biggest club in the world. Listen, if you can park your players at AC Milan for 3 years, yes, you are the biggest club in the world. Let's be real here. Let's be humble and be real. I stayed at Milan for 3 seasons, and what they asked of me was fairly high performance. A fairly high. We brought Milan back to the top. When I arrived in Madrid last time, I was a child. Now I've played more games, including in the Champions League. This makes you more mature. I'm very grateful to Milan because they have made me grow and helped me a lot in these 3 years. Yeah, guys, it's nice to be Madrid. It's nice to be Madrid. He's going to become a bench player for Real Madrid. What does revenue increase and brand growth matter if the money isn't going to get reinvested? You know what? That money goes straight into the pockets of Redbird in order to pay for their debts, essentially. Milan legend Cardinale, who has us in the new edition of the Ringley Brothers. There's news that was linked to Taremi, CF Porto. Any thoughts on the guy? If so, how does he compare to Scamacca? Okay, I do not know Taremi very well. Let's check him out. Let's do that. Uh, let's check Taremi out. Let's do a little bit of scouting. Okay, Taremi. Mehdi Taremi. I think Porto should be fine. Portuguese league is fine. We don't usually get any problems with the Portuguese league, so I can show videos. We're going to analyze him together. I did see that he was linked with us. He scored many goals for Porto. He looks to be a prolific striker. So we're going to analyze him together here. Perfect. Hello, this is Jerry. Okay, guys, I'm not too familiar with this player. We're going to look at him right now and see what he's all about. We're going to read about him and see what kind of price we're looking at. We're going to do a quick analysis on this player. Good shout out. Okay, all right. So first of all, he's 30 years old. That's a decent age. He's is that what flag? That is Iran? That is Iran, right? Yes, that is Iran. Correct, guys? Preferred for right striker, 187, 6.2, 83 kilos. Weakness, no significant weaknesses. Okay, let's check him out. Taremi will be too expensive for us. Okay, appearances 40, 26 goals, 17 assists. Those are really good numbers. Very good numbers. 20 million. Now, I remember watching Porto against Inter. I don't particularly remember him. Okay. Let's get to it. Okay, so from the first things I'm seeing in his positioning, center forward. Wow. Damn. What a goal. He'll remember that goal forever. Nice. Good composure. Great pass. Great pass, great composure. Right away, I can tell this is a good player. Yeah, for sure. So, how he would compare to Scamacca? Well, obviously, experience. 30 years old. 30 is a good age that combines physicality and experience. It's probably your best physically when combined with physicality and mental state. It is probably your best years between 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Maybe after 34, that's when you start to go down. So he is in his best years for sure right now. I don't know what his injuries are. He definitely has very good qualities from what I'm seeing. Wow, great ball. So another thing that I'm noticing here, guys, that needs to be said is that he is surrounded by players that are giving him very good balls. So that needs to be said. Like good through balls. Poacher. Okay, so he has the poaching instincts. Yeah, exactly what he's a number 9. He wears a number 9. That's the first thing I thought of as soon as the literally first second I saw him. I said, "This guy's a classic number 9." Uh, so similar to a Suarez, right? He kind of has those qualities. Not like a center forward, like one of those, like a Harry Kane or like a Giroud. Not a center forward that lives for reception, but he has the qualities of a number 9, like a Suarez kind of number 9. Man, look at these balls. You see, guys, like this is what I'm saying is one thing that you have to notice is look at the quality of the balls that he's given. Look at his through ball. It cuts through one, two, three, four players. Look at that. One, two, three, four. So he's getting a lot of good quality balls. Yeah, right there too. I mean, the question more so than the striker. When was last time we saw in Milan? Oh wait, this is him. That's number 9, right? Is that him making the pass? Oh yeah, this is actually him making the pass. Wow, I'm more impressed with the service of the quality of the service than anything. But that's actually him making the pass. Yeah, that's number 9. What a ball! Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, who in AC Milan have you seen in these past years do a pass like this that cuts through 4 players like that? One, two, three, four. It's this guy here. So okay. So a player like this not only would bring you goals, but would also bring you assists. As a matter of fact, he has 17 assists. Okay, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. So this guy is a number 9 with the qualities of a 10. He is literally a number 9 with the qualities of a 10. It's a good combination of both categories. But like a ball like this, like when was last time you guys saw anybody at AC Milan play a ball like this, cutting through the middle this way? Hmm, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, this would be an excellent target for AC Milan, guys. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. He obviously has the experience of Europe. He has international experience. I'm sure he's a starter in the Iranian national team, so he plays with Iran. and he's been playing in the Champions League for a long time. Yeah, definitely a good target. I'm all for this target. One thing that Skamaka does not do is do those kind of passes. So Skamaka does not have those qualities of those through ball kind of passes. That is so this player will bring you two things. This player will bring you that kind of number 9 striker a la Suarez, but he can also bring you those, like Jamal is saying, defense splitting passes. So goals and assists. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing. He definitely has qualities. Now I do remember, I can't remember him against Inter very well, but they did. I mean, Porto did create chances, but again, guys, I mean, it's not just him. Yeah, like the team in general has a lot of players with exceptional assists. Look at this assist. Like this is an exceptional assist right here. Right here. I mean, the run is great, but look at this assist. It just exceptional. Good court. Look at it. Very composed. Very composed. Clever. Yeah, he's a poacher, so he can do it all. He kind of does it all, huh? Yeah, the poaching in the box, assists, headers.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, Mediterranean is I like him a lot. Um, like Roy said, there's a lot of quality on Porto. I think Roy is just checked out of the stream. Um, but yeah, I think he's a good mix of like a target man, and he's a bit more mobile than Giroud, but he's not like the most mobile striker. Um, I think I don't know. I don't know if he's our priority at the moment. I don't believe so.
Sorry guys, I had issues with my sound. I just joined in with another device.
Inter
Okay.
have just extended De Vrij's contract.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. What do you think of this player, Tereni?
Hey, Roy, what's his age?
30 years old.
I mean, he's good. Like, he's a good striker. I just don't know, like, because people are saying we need a more mobile striker. I mean, he's more mobile than Giroud for sure.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at him. He has a lot of qualities. Not just a striker, but he can also be a second striker. Uh, uh, he has exceptional assists, composed in front of goal, scores a lot of goals, a lot of assists. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
So we should get him, you think?
I think if the opportunity arises, I think this would be a good target. Yes, 100%.
What about did you check his stats?
His stats are good. At least the stats that he showed here. Let's check his stats from this year. I think this would be a good signing. Like a good age. He's got 30 years old. You know, you still have him performing at high levels for 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't know what his physical history is, though. That's the issue. So if his physical history is decent, then 30 years old is not bad.
I mean, he scored some pretty big goals in the UCL. I just don't. I just don't know anything about like his numbers. I don't really watch the Portuguese league too much. So
Okay, so total matches played 33, started 31, 80 minutes per game, 22 goals, 7
22
assists.
goals.
Yeah, 22 goals, 7 assists. So a goal contribution of 29 just in the league. Let's see in the
I
Champions League.
mean, I think this guy is like we were talking about like experience versus young strikers. If we sign this guy, I think he can make an instant impact in Serie A.
I think so too. Look at this. In the Champions League, 7 games, 7 started, 5 goals and 2 assists. So that is 7, 29 plus 7. That is 36 goal contribution in 2 competitions. Those are insane numbers. Absolutely insane numbers. And did he play in the domestic? Is there a domestic league here? I guess not. Oh, this one here. Super Taka. Guess they only played 1 game. 2 goals. 1 game, he scored 2 goals. So a total of 39 goal contribution in no 38 goal contribution in 1 season. These are insane numbers.
Is that legit, Roy? Like this is like that's like 10 more than Leao.
Oh no, hold on. This was from
That's
last. That was from last year. So 36 goal contribution
36 goal contributions.
between Champions League and the league
Let
and
me
the regular.
confirm this real quick. In the meantime, I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. Imagine those balls being fed into Leao for sure. Yeah, and yeah, he has got some exceptional through balls too. Now let's see his other stats. Okay, so accuracy per game 75%, own half 89%, opposition half 69%. So 69% opposition half. That's a more or less similar to a regular center forward. So usually center forwards are around this number right here. I bet Haaland is. I wonder. Actually, I'm curious to see what Haaland is as a center forward. I think it's probably. I'm very curious to see that actually.
Yeah, Roy, on another website that I just checked, he has even more. It says that he has even more than that. Like he's got
Oh,
almost around 40 goal contributions this year.
yeah, really? Wow, wow.
This is insane. I didn't why did I not realize that he was scoring this many goals this year? That's crazy.
Yeah. So someone in the chat said check him out. So I did a little bit. We did a little bit of scouting, and bro, this guy is good.
Listen, at this point, even though he's old or
Yeah,
he's on the
I'm
older side, I don't give a
older.
crap. Bring this guy in. Let's get a striker who can score 20 goals a season. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, this guy here can definitely improve the quality of the offensive department without having to wait for him to adapt, essentially. All right, I'm curious to see something. Let me just check Premier League, Haaland. So, yeah, opposition even less. So, Haaland in opposition half has 67% ball possession in opposition half.
No,
I
this guy's
think,
much more technical than Holland for
no,
sure.
yeah. But I'm just noticing that he has the ball retention of a center forward in the opposition half. Um, okay, yeah, I'm sold, guys. Let's see what the article said here regarding him. Can you hear me well, by the way? I know
Yes,
the quality has
yes.
gone.
You're good.
Okay, let's see what they are. Can you guys see Jerry, the
Yep.
legend? Look at it.
Yeah, Roy, let's get Taremi.
What a legend Jerry is, guys. I love Jerry.
Roy, how many years left on his contract?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because he's gonna cost money.
I honestly have no clue.
He's only 30. Like not like he's exactly 30 years old.
Yeah, that's not a bad age. That's a good age actually. It's just
That's a
that
very good age.
the only issue with the 30 years old, again, like we don't care about this, is the fact that financially, their price can only go down from there.
Yeah,
But
and
that's a
that's what
that's
Jerry cares about. So,
right. So that's the only. Now there was someone I did see an article here. Can you check on transfer market if you have the ability to see what his situation is? I'm gonna try and find the article that San
but
Bernardino has
his
about it.
contract,
Yeah,
yeah, I can do that now.
guys, remember to click the like button. His contract expires in 2024. Okay, so like a SMS kind of situation.
Let's get him, man.
Yeah,
He's better than
I'd be interested.
Taram.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I would say from all the strikers I've seen so far, he's the best one, without a
In the
doubt.
Portuguese league, like people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I respect the numbers in the Portuguese league more than the numbers in the Bundesliga. Just from like what I've seen the past few years with like the like players coming out of those leagues, like the Bundesliga, you have players who score like 50 goals a season, like, and then they leave the Bundesliga and they don't do
I, wa-
anything for that.
I wouldn't say Skamaka is weak compared to him, but this guy obviously has already, achieved a lot more than Skamaka. So
I think Roy, if this guy wasn't from Iran, who was from like a European country or something, he would be much more like he. I think he's very underrated, to be honest, because dang, those numbers are pretty good.
okay, so AC Milan are looking at various options to come in and report to the Center for Department, and Mehdi Tarami is one of the targets report claims. Actually, Leao was asked about him earlier in the interview when we were reading his interview. Today's edition of La Gazzetta dello Sport unveiled a new option from attack in Taremi, who currently starts for the Iranian national team and Porto, who the Rossoneri faced last year in the group stages of the Champions League. The 30-year-old center forward appeals to Milan because he has a deal running out in June 2024. He has international experience and imposing physical structure and a good scoring record. If Taremi were to decide not to renew with Porto, it could well be that they're forced into selling him this summer. But the current asking price is 2025, given his importance to the team. But those are pennies. Taremi has 80 goals and 49 assists in 147 games. So that is almost a zero point 0.8 goal contribution, right?
Yeah.
0.8, 0.8.
Wait, say what are the numbers again?
80 goals and 49 assists in 147 games. Essentially, he has 100 and
20.
what
Yeah, that's like yeah. That's like more or less around 80%.
80, close to 90, close to 85%. So yeah, 0.8, 85 goal contribution per game. Those are insane numbers. Those are insane numbers. For Porto Cross, having netted 31 of them last season.
And
Mamma mia.
imagine, man, just imagine like, I'm imagining getting a striker playing off Leao. He's good to play off of Leao. He's not as like, and what isn't he's tall too? Isn't he like 6 foot, like
6.2.
6 foot two?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good height. It's like as tall as Leao. I mean, he's a little bit more mobile than is Giroud taller than Leao? I think
Yeah,
so.
Giroud is for sure.
So
Yeah.
he's a bit more mobile than Giroud, a bit younger, obviously.
I'll say much more mobile.
Hmm?
Well, who told you that they're not mobile?
No, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying like he's not like I guess okay, from what I mean, relatively speaking, from like what people on this channel have been saying, they want like a young like guy who runs around a lot.
Oh, right,
So
right.
like
Well,
so I'm
that's
just
not
like
the match.
yeah. So I'm just kind of but I don't really agree with that necessarily.
Yeah, yeah. No, this guy reminds me of Suarez. Like that's the best comparison I can see. Like a Suarez kind of player, someone that can play the ball, but can also be a poacher, can be a center forward. Basically, he can. From what I've seen so far, and also what his numbers suggest, because 49 assists for a number 9. That's a lot. Those very good numbers for a number 9. So it suggests to me that he is literally a combination of a center forward, a poacher, a second striker, and also the qualities of a number 10. So a little bit of everything. He's a cocktail of a whole bunch of things put together. Yeah, I think this would be a great operation if we can make it happen for sure, 100%. This would be a great operation for sure. Milan should keep an eye on the Croatian striker Belgio. Will be uh, will be a beast next year. Belgium. Jesse Legendo. Okay, guys. What else is there? What else is there to report on? I think we reported on everything today, guys.
Yeah, I mean, the
Now,
Taremi link was surprising.
who the fuck is Turam compared? Who the fuck is Turam compared to him? Oh, who the fuck is Turam compared to him?
And Roy, you were impressed with the highlights?
Yes, yeah.
Because I just joined. Like,
Yeah, no, he's got good qualities for sure. He looks like a very intelligent football player. Good
yeah.
feet, good feet, good feet, and exceptional through balls. Tell us your opinion about the Nations League. Uh, the Nations League. So Italy has a very strong squad, but so does Spain. We're playing against Spain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Spain on Thursday. And
My
also,
only, yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
my
No,
only. Go ahead, just go ahead.
Italy's U21 Euros team is also very competitive.
Yes, very competitive. Um, Let me see if there is. Okay, show more. Let me just see. And what is the other semifinal?
I'm not actually sure, to be honest. I have to, I'm assuming maybe France or some country. I don't know if it's.
No, I don't think so because France has a friendly against Gibraltar, so I don't
Ah,
think
okay, okay.
so. Does anybody know, guys? I am actually a little bit uninformed on this subject. Ah, okay. Netherlands, Croatia is the other one. Netherlands, Croatia. Um, Listen, if Italy makes it to the only thing I've got to say is this, Robert. If Italy makes it to the final and they lose that final, that will be 5 finals of Italian teams that they lose in 1 year. That'd be like a record. So that's what I. If they make the final, they gotta win it. They gotta win it. Like it can't. They gotta win it. Like Italian teams can't make 5 finals in 1 year and lose all 5 of those finals. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I think about this. Um, Unfortunately, I've not been following so much right now the call ups, but I think Zaniolo is in a good form. Chiesa is in good form. Raspadori is in good form. Retegui is in good form. So the offense
Hey,
is
Roy,
good. Yeah. What?
was Grifo called up as well?
Who?
Was that guy Grifo called up from the Bundesliga or no?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's check the call ups. Yeah, but as I was saying, I do know that the offense is right now. All of them are in form. Chiesa finally found form towards the end of the season. Zaniolo is in good form. Retegui is in good form. Raspadori is in good form. So those guys are good. Gnonto will not be. Actually, Retegui is another really good striker we should be looking at. But Gnonto will not be with the seniors, and I'm low key happy about this. Gnonto is going to go with the U21. The U21 has a very good squad. They do have the potential of going far, maybe if they're lucky, even winning it. And I think Gnonto being there can increase those chances.
Robert says, I have a feeling Croatia going to take it. Maybe last chance for Modric to win something with Croatia. Yeah, Croatia has an exceptional team. No doubt about it. They do have probably the best midfield in the world. They probably still do. Brozovic, Modric, and Kovacic are probably the best trio right now. That is their major strength. So I do think that they have a good chance of winning it as well, for sure. Spain, um, Spain is not boasting of great strikers right now, so that could be a problem for them. But they do always have that game of theirs. They keep the ball forever, very difficult to play against. Netherlands is growing in general, but Netherlands has lost a little bit of its steam. So Italy has a chance to go all the way, but they're more or less, I would say, all four of them are more or less similar. I would say, right? I wouldn't say
Yeah, and
I wouldn't say one is the clear favorite.
I want to ask you, Roy, do you view the Nations League as like a Mickey Mouse Cup, or like what's your take on it?
No, it can't be a Mickey Mouse Cup because the best players of each country are facing each other in competition. By the way, France celebrated the Nation Leagues. It doesn't look like it's a Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yeah, and also I agree with that because I was gonna say for me, I love winning any trophy. I don't really buy into like, oh, this trophy's in feet like is not good. For me, if it's a trophy, it's a trophy, and I want Italy to win. So, yeah, I mean, let's win. Let's hopefully
I
try.
think I designate that Mickey Mouse Cup to like the Coppa Italia, Super Coppa. Like those are cups that are just good for the trophy cabinet, but they don't bring much prestige. But anytime like you have your best players of each country facing each other in a competitive setting, yeah, it can't be a Mickey Mouse Cup. It just can't be a Mickey Mouse Cup.
Yeah.
So is Italy favorites for the U21 Euro? I don't know. I would say no. I think France are favorite. They also have a really good roster. I don't think Italy is favorite, but I do think that they
Is
have a
Kalulu there?
yeah, yeah. I do think that Italy has a roster good enough to win it, but I don't think they are the favorites. No. However, Mr. Bob thinks Coppa is more important than Scudetto. Guys, please click that like button. Click that like button because I've been informed by a special friend of mine that works in the back offices of Redbird that every time you click that like button, we get 10 million or more for the market. Mickey Mouse Cup is Kakarabo Cup. Oh, that is that English cup, right? Tonali about to look like prime Rijkaard. Yeah, Tonali is going to be a good competition for Tonali. Good experience for him. Now listen, the U21 Euros are not something to take lightly. The U21s are usually basically the next national teams. I've been following the U21 Euros as long as I can remember because it's a very, very fun tournament to watch. And it's basically the next reiterations of the national teams that you're going to see in the next upcoming years. Um, Tonali for Italy, the U21 is a very prestigious cup because Italy and Spain, I think, are the two countries that have won it the most times. So for Italy, it is an important competition because it is a competition that has brought them a lot of pedigree in that category. Tonali being maybe the main player of that team, it's going to be a great experience for him, a great learning experience for him. Pirlo played this competition. It was a great experience for Pirlo. Maldini, Totti, Del Piero, all of the legends that came out of the Serie A played in this competition, and a lot of them won it. It was a great experience for them. So I'm happy that Tonali is playing this competition. And I'm happy that Tonali is playing this competition when finally, after maybe 10 years, guys, and I'm literally saying this, it's probably because I follow the U21s very closely. This is the best U21 I've seen in almost a decade, as far as the players in it, the roster. Now, They could lose every game, guys. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not going to say here are the favorites, but objectively speaking, it is the best roster I've seen in a U21 for almost 10 years. The last good roster that I saw was the one where Insigne was in it. And actually, that roster made the finals, and they lost to Spain in the finals. But that was the last time, Immobile and Insigne, that was the last time that we had a really good roster. Um, and that roster at the end won pretty much a lot of the players in that roster then won the Euro in 2020, but failed to make the World Cups. So yeah, the U21 is going to be a very interesting competition, not only for Italy though, for the other teams too, because it's a great window to see who the next big players are in other countries too. There's a lot of interesting players in France, especially now that we have a French connection with Moncada. I'm sure Moncada is not even going to go to the Italian games because obviously Moncada doesn't give a fuck about that. But he's going to be at every French game, and there are some very interesting players in the French national team that we could be looking at. Kalulu being one of them, right? That we got. Kalulu has been in ever since we bought Kalulu. Kalulu has been part of this U21. So if Kalulu is a player that look at how he turned out for us. So the U21 has a lot of great opportunities. There is a player in particular that I like a lot, which is Enzo Lafi, that was shown to us by one of our viewers here, Chunk. He's a very interesting player. Then Belgium, CDK. It's going to be great experience for CDK. Let's see how he performs and how he behaves in this competition. Vranks is going to be there. And then, we're going to have a lot of teams. So it's going to be very, very fun to watch. CDK against U21 was still looking at experience.
I was watching. I was looking back at the season, and I looked back at like the preseason friendlies, and I remember that CDK scored a hat trick in one of them. We had hope. That was funny.
Right, he scored at Milanello.
Yeah,
against a Serie B team or a Serie no.
Maybe C or D.
A Serie D team, I think it was. Oh, Vranks is in the first team to replace De Bruyne. I don't know if that's a joke or not, if you're trolling, but I don't. No, it can't be. Vranks is the captain of the U21. That has to be a troll. All right. Okay, look at here. We got some new news emerging. Caldara now in Serie B. Oh my God. Guys, don't get too depressed as I read this, but AC Milan are planning finally to sell Mattia Caldara for good in the summer now that he is back at the club, a report claims. This is not a joke. I saw on Twitter. Wow, that is crazy. As has been reported by La Gazzetta dello Sport, the Italian defender is now coming back to Milan after the season he has spent alone at Spezia. It was yet another disappointing season for the defender that Milan paid 34 million. Who paid 34 million for this guy? Was it the Fassone Mirabelli? Was it them or was it Galliani?
Oh, I don't. Probably Fassone Mirabelli. I don't know.
34 guys. We paid Caldara more than our current budget. He has not lived up to the hype, both in terms of performance and fitness. After a series of loans, his time at Milan will definitely come to an end this summer. Given his contract expires in 2024, the club hope that they can still make some money from selling him. Any fee will be minimal, but it is better than paying him for another year and getting nothing in 2024. Injuries have plagued his career, but he will have hope of some continuity elsewhere with a permanent move. 34 million, guys. Berlusconi, rest in peace, for sure. Speaking of Berlusconi, let's see what Capello says. Former AC Milan coach Capello has agreed that Milan could name a new stadium after former president Silvio Berlusconi, something he thinks the fans would appreciate. I agree. Speaking during an interview with La Gazzetta dello Sport, Capello spoke passionately about the late Berlusconi, who passed away on Monday morning due to leukemia. He used to own Milan and was the president, taking the club from near bankruptcy to being the most successful side in Europe. Latterly, he was to own he was to owner of Monza. Antonio, can you tell Oliver to not be drunk when he writes these? Berlusconi was also a media tycoon and former Italian prime minister. His legacy includes multiple sex scandals, corruption allegations, and a tax fraud conviction. The tax fraud conviction is really what fucked us up. That was the thing that fucked up Milan, because he had 500 million tax debt. Speaking about when he passed away, Capello very emotionally said, "I got goosebumps. It is if one of the family had disappeared. He represented a big piece of my life. In fact, he changed my life because Berlusconi was fundamental to my career. Define him with one word, a genius. He had brilliant visions." Speaking about the legacy that the man had both in the outside of football, Capello said, he invented private TV where Agnelli and De Benedetti had failed. He created a party in a few months and won elections. He built a team that won all over the world. For me, he was the greatest president in the history of football, even including Santiago Bernabeu, because with Bernabeu in those years, it was easier for Real Madrid to. Remember, Berlusconi did not use his partner's money, but his own. He was then asked if Milan could name their new stadium after Berlusconi, to which he said, "That would be an excellent idea. Let's see what the new owners will think of it. I don't think the fans would oppose it." The new owners have no clue who Berlusconi is. That's the truth. But yes, I agree with that notion. I think the new stadium should be named Stadio Berlusconi, 100%. The man, fucking in 30 years, brought us 29 trophies. That's insane. We love to talk about stats and numbers. That's a number right there. What about Conti? We paid for him 30 million. Yeah, I know. That was crazy.
Where's Conti right now, by the way?
I think he was in Sampdoria, Conti, right? He was playing in Sampdoria.
Yeah, but what the heck? That guy fell off, man.
Yeah, and he was an interesting prospect. He's at Atalanta. He looked good. But this is the thing that, I'm happy that we're talking about this, because a lot of these players that we got back then that turned out to be flops, like some of these players look like they had the potential to become really good. At the end of the day, even the players that we had, we were not supposed to be a club that never even fought for top four. Like with the players we had during the so-called banter, we were supposed to always be in the top four conversation. Those players were good.
But we didn't have a spirit.
Exactly, Antonio. Those players right there were good enough for us to at least fight for top four every year. But as you just said perfectly right now, there was no spirit. There was no attachment to the shirt. There was nobody.
Roy, we kind of saw the same thing with like Paquetá. Like, I'm not saying that a lot of the players were bad. Don't get me wrong, but we did have a few players that were pretty decent or good. I'm not saying Paquetá was world class, but he was a good midfielder who came in still when we were still recovering from the banter era. Like we were exiting the banter era, and it just didn't work out for him, But then, he shows it with Brazil. He's a great player.
Yeah, look, yeah. So what was missing in that team? The spirit, the attachment to the shirt, the idea of what it is to play for Milan, because those things are very difficult to do, because the San Siro demands a lot from you. Being a player for Milan is a huge, huge responsibility. Huge responsibility. So when you don't have management, an ownership, a team of people that outside of the field that can't transmit that to the players, no matter how good the players are, it does not matter. And Milan is a spirit. Milan is an idea. Milan is literally the embodiment of an idea that needs to be transmitted to the players. This is why I worry that Maldini being gone, we might lose that spirit, but I do hope that the players that learned from Maldini can keep that going. So this is one of the reasons why I'm not happy with the sacking of Maldini, because we saw that with Passoni Mirabelli, they were not able to transmit that spirit. The moment that we kind of got that spirit back, when was it? When Gattuso became the coach of AC Milan. When Leonardo Maldini and then Gattuso became the coach of AC Milan, il senso d'appartenenza, those words, the attachment to the shirt started to come back, and then it just came back, and now we're in it. So hopefully now we can maintain it. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Well, what's this all about? Pulisic to Newcastle. Senior Green.
That's a W for us.
That's a W for us and L for Jerry.
No more American players after Serginho Dest.
Well, Balogun, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, is he even American? That guy's British, basically.
Well, Dest is Dutch. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, yeah, fine. Balogun, whatever. But yeah, Dest, people who like watch the US national team like love Dest because apparently, I mean, sometimes when I watch him, he's not a bad player, but this guy cannot. What is his position? Because he's not a right back. He has zero defensive capabilities, so Dest better go.
I think Dest's best position is an offensive wingback. Because he is a player that likes to play line to line, right? He likes to play literally the whole field, but his qualities are more offensive. He's got more technique than defensive qualities. I think that is his best position. Like in a three, like he'd be good for Inter, basically how Inter plays. He'd be good there, but he's a player that likes to cut in. So he's a particular type of player. He's not a player that is going to go all the way down and then put the crosses in like Darmian does, or like Di Marco does, or like Dumfries do, or like Theo does. He goes all the way down to the box and then he cuts in. So it's you need to know how to use him properly and be effective. Yeah.
Yeah.
You. How many? Okay, so a few more questions here. If Rafa was Brasileiro, Paquetá would have stayed. Guys, do you think any chance Pep moved to Milan to challenge himself, make the greatest team ever like Arrigo Sacchi did in '89? What do you think, Antonio?
Well, actually, funny enough, there were some rumors about. So it looks like Pep is not going to stay after 2025 as of now. He hasn't renewed his contract. So, and Pep loves Italy, speaks basically fluent, maybe like, advanced, whatever you want, Italian. He played there. He's friends with a lot of Italian coaches and players. Like Sacchi was an inspiration to him. He always mentions Milan and the Milan clubs. He likes the history. So I think honestly, I could see him like maybe slowing down his career or just retiring after City or just slowing down his career in Italy. The thing about Pep is I don't know if he'd want to risk his career with a team that isn't going to fund him like a lot of like as much as City will, or like to help build his perfect team, because he has his style of play and he needs quality players. But I think he definitely respects Milan a lot, and if we were in the right ownership environment, he could come to Milan. But that is not. I don't think with Jerry, it's not going to happen. Like he has to come with like an ambitious owner.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. It's difficult to see him come to Milan, especially in these conditions. And he needs to be in a team where he can express his kind of football. And he probably feels like if he comes to Milan, it'd be like kind of like how Mourinho, after all of his career accolades, all of his years, kind of like, okay, now I'll downgrade, as painful as that is to say. But Mourinho said, okay, now I'll downgrade to Roma and I'll try and help Roma bring back, even though Mourinho makes a lot of money. So it would have to be that kind of situation. I think Guardiola, maybe if Guardiola decides, okay, I've achieved everything I've achieved with all the best teams, all the best resources, Now I'm going to downgrade and try and try test myself with lesser resources. I think it's very Guardiola is still very far from making those kind of decisions. I think he's still quite competitive.
Yeah, honestly, if I was Guardiola, I mean, he's not super old. Like that guy, he should just try to he's close to cementing himself as the greatest coach of all time. Honestly, if he wins like a few more UCLs, I think then he'll have more than Ancelotti. Um, then I don't know. He's won 2 trebles. Damn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. There's a lot left still in Guardiola's career, so I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon. If it does happen, unfortunately, it would be nice. I am a fan of Guardiola.
I like
Uh,
him. I like Ancelotti too. I like I mean, I don't know if Guardiola is the best, but like of all time. But yeah, he's great.
it's hard to quantify. I mean, it's subjective, I think. But anyway, guys, Branks is only on loan, right? Do you know if he's going to stay? I don't know. I mean, again, in order to get him to stay, Milan have to put out 8 million or something like that. Right now, it's difficult to make these assertions because the budget situation looks very dire. It looks very, very bad. It looks like it. I mean, you cannot but think the only way for us to invest in the market is to sell one of our bigger players. And I dread that day. I really dread that day. But I really don't know. I really don't know. He wasn't used very much this year. We can't
I
sell him.
like Franks, man. I think he's good.
We
But if
can't.
Pioli doesn't play him, then there's nothing. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a player we can sell. It's not a player that either we buy or we send him back. So It's a strange situation. I think we're going to find out a little bit more about the how this club is going to operate in the market in a month or a month and a half. The market officially starts in July, so sooner or later the first operations are going to be coming in, and sooner or later we are going to find out exactly how this new ownership behaves in the market. Right now, everything is still in the speculation phase. Dace is fake Dutch, bruh. He has to be Belgian. How many years is Frank's loan? It's just 1 year loan. Just 1 year. He plays versus Caribbean islands with the U.S. Of course, I think he's a baller. That's, I mean, no offense. We have a lot of Caribbean friends. We love our Caribbean friends. The U.S., the competition that the U.S. has is not great. You have a point similar to Chelsea. All the quality in the world, but no leadership. Yep, yep. True, 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 true. Ernesto says, I don't want Pep. I like Pioli and I trust him.
I'm just gonna laugh at that statement, but I respect it. I respect it.
Okay, why? Why?
I don't want Pep. I want Pioli. I'm just. That's the wrong bald man.
I'm still Pioli in. Let's see what happens.
I mean, listen, I still stand by this. If Pioli doesn't have the players he wants, like which obviously he doesn't, well, he didn't this year, then I'm not going to judge him, like because Pep, at the end of the day, all these coaches, even Inzaghi, because even Inter, although they're super limited with money, they always find a way to bring like experienced players that Inzaghi has coached or stuff like that. I don't know if you talked about Milinkovic Savic, but that's also news. But like even these coaches, like they win trophies by getting good players. At the end of the day, Pioli has a few of them, but he hasn't gotten anyone he's asked for.
True. Sempre Milan says, guys, I gotta go now. It's 1:06 a.m. here, and I'm sleepy. Forza Milan, thank you for joining us. I think this was your first time joining us. Welcome to the community, Sempre Milan. Looking forward to seeing you more often. Ernesto says, Lorenzo Colombo is also called up. We need to see what he's going to do. Yes, he's been called up for the U21. He's going to be one of the starters. So that's another good platform to see what he's all about. If he has a very good U21, maybe we can make further analysis of whether he should stay or not.
News. Longo just tweeted The mayor of, this is in Italian, I'm going to do a quick translation. The mayor of San Donato, Francesco Squerri, has sent a letter in which he confirms that. Let me just quickly read this letter. Basically, I think confirming the exact area where they plan to do it. Let me see here. Okay, the area of the territory involved is the one called San Francesco, and which extends between this highway. It doesn't really matter. In recent weeks, the administration has received a request for willingness to evaluate a project that looks over the construction of the AC Milan Stadium. The common administration has made itself available to open a roundtable for the evaluation of the project only when the proposal will materialize, accompanied by the relative documentation. I guess the mayor is just sort of confirming that they have plans to like meet and discuss this, but nothing too crazy.
Okay. So we're going to have a referendum on when to meet and how to meet. Wow, incredible.
We're not gonna have a new stadium. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah. Eventually,
Italy's annoying. Like
yeah. All right, listen. Let's finish today's newscast with a reaction to Sempre Milan's awards, end of the season awards. Let's see if we agree or not. Okay, because I don't think we are on the same page many times. Okay, player of the season, according to Ollie, is Leao.
No.
Isaac says Leao, Ahmed Leao, Lorenzo says Tonali. Okay. Player of the season for you, who it is, Antonio? Oh, I think Antonio.
I have to head out for a second and have some complications, but player of the season is Leao.
For you, it's Leao. Okay, got you. Flop of the season, I see a lot of CDKs. CDK. For me, flop of the season is Origi. It's actually not CDK. And I'll tell you why. Because CDK is a young player. And of course, yeah, we spent 35 million on him, so we're expecting a lot on him. But CDK is a very young player, and it is understandable that a young player needs time to adapt. It's very understandable. Now, of course, the way there's nothing positive to say about how he performed, etc. But Origi is 27. He's played in the Champions League. He's getting 4 million. He needed to step up. Like a 27-year-old needs to step up and contribute way more. A young player, you have to kind of be understandable. Okay, he has to learn the language. He still hasn't even had 100 games under his belt yet. He's barely just started his career as a professional footballer, 2 years in. So I disagree with the flop of the season. I think flop of the season this year was Origi. And, of course, after that, maybe you can say CDK. Only thing we can hope from Cardinal is to build the stadium and sell the club to serious owners as fast as possible. Yeah, I agree. Bro, when are we going to sign a player? I'm excited to see it comes. Yeah, probably it's coming. I mean, soon. We're going to see that. Did you guys talk about Samardzic from Udinese, according to Sempre Milan article? We spoke about him yesterday. We did. We did speak about him yesterday. Most improved player. Most improved player for me, I'm going to say Benacer. Benacer, with the departure of Kessie, Benacer had to take the reins, and I think Benacer was very impressive. Very impressive. I liked Benacer quite a lot, actually. I don't see anybody. People are saying Diaz, Tonali. Yeah, for me it was Benacer. He definitely stepped up, I believe. Most underrated player, Fikayo Tomori, Krunic, 100%. Krunic is the most underrated player. Best summer signing, Chow. Easy, easy, very easy. Breaking news: Branks is currently with the Belgian national team, and then there will be time to clarify what comes next. Milan have decided not to use the 12 million option to buy. Yeah, yeah, I believe that. I definitely believe that. I 100. I mean, that's literally half of our budget. Imagine spending half of our budget on a player that so young. Okay, guys, we have covered everything we need to cover today. There was one more thing that I wanted to look at with you guys, and that was the Fratesi interview, which I think is very interesting. Says a lot about his personality. And this will be our last newscast of the day. Davide Fratesi has made it clear that he wants to stay in Italy and take the next step in his career domestically, with AC Milan among the interested clubs. As Mercato.com report, Fratesi spoke to the media during a press conference while with the Italian national team, and he was asked if this might be the right summer for him to move on from Sassuolo. It will be an important summer, he said. Important decisions will have to be made. Probably, yes. It is the most important of my life. It is always a pleasure to be in the midst of these conversations, he said. Right off the bat, I like that Fratesi has the ambition to move to a big club right away. I like that. It means that the things done in the past have been the right ones. I have to continue working like this, and then Carnivali, the owner of Sassuolo, and the others will take care of the rest. I told my agent to call me only in case of important things. Sassuolo president Giovanni Carnivali is to sell Fratesi by June 30th. By 30th of June. Wow. Wow. If that is true, that is incredible. That means that we'll know his destiny in 2 weeks. Perhaps also including some technical counterpart in the operation that could generate value in the future. But his asking price is still 30. Mamma mia. Please. 35, 40. Nobody in Italy can afford this guy. Sassuolo is ruining Italian players, guys. Sassuolo is the ruin of Italian players. It's Torino all over again. The Giallorossi are the club that have been working on signing Fratesi for the longest time, attempting to use that 30% as a discount to secure his return. So Roma has a 30% discount. Given that Roma have a 30% sell-on clause. The Giallorossi are a club that have been working on signing Fratesi for the longest time, attempting to use that 30% as a discount. Well, obviously he's going to go to Roma, guys. This is a no-brainer. His return, oh my God, Roma is taking everybody. To secure his return, and with the inclusion of young players like Volpato and Missori, who are liked by Sassuolo. Volpato is a good player. You should stay at Roma. Juventus have a 23-year-old on their list of targets, but a difficult summer waits for them economically. Just as it does for Inter, who will probably find themselves having to replace both Gagliardini and Brozovic with limited budget. This is why the candidacy of Milan could emerge strongly. No way, guys. For 30, 45 million, impossible. Fratesi is a player that the management likes a lot. His profile has the green light from Pioli, but there's no interest in participating in auctions. Forget about Fratesi. This is not happening. Dude, Pioli has reached his limit. Milan won't get any better with Pioli going further. Depends on the roster, Minzan. It depends on the roster. Even De Zerbi, in his interview yesterday with Bobo Vieri, said, when it comes to operating as a football player, when it comes to operating in small spaces, when you're in the box and everything that happens in small spaces, the coach has nothing to do with it. The coach has got nothing to do with it. It's all about the players. Quality, 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 guys. Now, yes, are there better coaches than Pioli? 100%. Would we like to see those coaches at Milan? Sure. But give this man a top-notch roster, and I think he can do wonders. My opinion. Roma can afford Frattesi. They have a budget of 60 million and they don't need other positions. We need to buy Smaradzic, the guy from Udinese. He can be better than Frattesi and more cheaper. I thought his price was what, 2025 from what I saw, right? I mean, right here. So let's look at this again. AC Milan in the market for a replacement after Brandy's return to Real Madrid, and the algorithm has come up with a name, a report claims. According to Udinese, Tutto Udinese, which is part of the TMW network, Milan have identified Lazar Samardzic as an ideal replacement for Brahim Diaz. Yes, he is a cam, obviously, if he's a replacement for Brahim Diaz. So I don't think him and Frattesi should be in the same conversation. But Milan have, after the Spaniard has officially returned, okay, the Russian manager selected the Udinese player with their Moneyball algorithm, a method originally introduced in baseball with the aim of helping general managers identify the most useful players for their team. Okay, guys, so now that it is, this article claims that this player was used with the Moneyball algorithm, I'm going to check this player on YouTube. I'm going to check his highlights. And I want to see if me and the algorithm agree. What's his name? Samardzic. 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 Okay, and I can share it. We have a Brazil Scout video, so I will be able to share it. Jerry, the man, the myth, the legend. AC Milan legend, Jerry Cardinale. Okay, let's check him out, guys. Let's see what he's all about. So, according to this article, the algorithm chose him. Okay, Moneyball. Let's see what Moneyball is all about. Let's see his qualities, his technical qualities. He was a cam, but adopted nicely as a CM. Milanisa says, replace Maldini with an algorithm. Yeah, that's right. Just get Kamada on a free and CDK bench. Everyone is writing off CDK after only one season. Let's see. Yes, he adopted the Mezzana in the Udinese system. Okay, guys. I don't remember this player when he played against us. This is my first time reacting to this player. 20 years old, right away. The Moneyball algorithm looks at age. Yes, 20 years old, a young buck. Citizenship, Germany and Russia. Right? Is that Russia? Yeah, Russia. No, that's not Russia. What flag is that? Udinese. Prefer for left, CM Cam, 184, 679 kilos. Okay. All right, let's check him out. Serbia, make it Russia, dude. What the fuck? Of course. Okay, 6 appearances. Okay, this was from 8 months ago. Pass success rate 91%. All right, guys, let's see what Moneyball does. Let's see how good of a scout Moneyball is. My first reaction here is average, but I want to look a little bit more. These are Austrian highlights. It's no good. Oh, hard to say, guys. Honestly, hard to say. Like, his footballing qualities are nothing special, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, I like, obviously he's a professional footballer, so he's good. But I'm not seeing anything exceptional. Let me see if there's highlights from Udinese, like a little bit closer. These are Udinese highlights right here. Yeah, that's a decent ball. Like the way he met. Good play in the middle. He has a more of an average. I just say normal, no? Scored against us. I mean, the thing is, like, you can really tell right away if a player is exceptional or not. Sometimes highlights can be deceiving 100%. Okay, he's organized. That's good technique right there. So he's basically a Çalhanoğlu kind of player, essentially. He's essentially a Çalhanoğlu type of player. So someone that is combines the CAM and the CM together. Kind of like a Kamada. He's essentially another type of Kamada on the ball. Off the ball, I don't know. Kamada off the ball is actually pretty good. But on the ball, yeah, he looks like the kind of player that suits Pioli's cam role. That's good. Against Lazio. But why go for him instead of Kamada? Well, I guess because this guy is younger. I'm assuming. Is his contract expiring? I don't think so. But he's not that different from Kamada, from what I'm seeing. Same typology of player. But again, Kamada off the ball, he wins a lot of tackles, a lot of recoveries from Kamada. So obviously these highlights just show his qualities on the ball. I mean, listen, I mean, to get me excited about players, it takes a lot. It takes a lot because For me, I'm all about the elite players, right? That's what I like. I like elites. I like the top of the top. This guy has qualities for sure. He has qualities. I see his qualities. I definitely see his qualities. I think Kamada is a done deal for us. No other big teams. Well, actually, Kamada had other suitors, but it looks like Kamada did choose us. CDK might be going out too. Okay, so I'll do more research on this player. Am I impressed? No, not really. I'll be honest with you. Like I'm seeing a good player, not a bad player, a good player, not an impressive midfielder. At least by this, guys. I know this is so little for me to see, but I'm just judging his technique and his ability to manage the ball. That's all I'm judging. I would rather go for a striker first than a right wing. Taremi, I was impressed. Now Taremi impressed the fuck out of me. If we can land Taremi, that would be the best thing we could do, 100%. Taremi, out of all the players I've seen so far that we've been linked to, he is absolutely the number one. Number one. If we can get Taremi as a striker, I think we will solve a lot of our issues. Why I would rather go for a striker first than a right wing. I look at all these cans when we can have Kamada for free and still have CDK and Ali who don't play, but we yeah. Review Baldanzi. I mean, I have done a lot of reviews of Baldanzi. Baldanzi is a very good player, very young, very technical. Ball sticks to his feet. Obviously, his biggest thing right now is his stature, but he's only 19, so still a long time for him to. Yeah, Baldanzi would be a better replacement for Diaz as far as that typology of player. Well, this player here would be a better replacement for Çalhanoğlu. Baldanzi was a beast in the U20 World Cup. That's for sure. So it really depends on what Pioli wants to do. Does he want to have a Diaz type of cam, or does he want to have Oh no! Listen, Baldanzi. We've done Baldanzi. We've reviewed him. We've looked at him. The question is, what does Pioli want to have? Does he want to go back to that Çalhanoğlu type of can, or does he want to go with the Diaz type of can? If he wants to go with the Diaz type of can, then Baldanzi could be a great replacement. If he wants to go with the Çalhanoğlu type of can, the best replacement is either Gundogan or SMS. Those are the two best names. If he wants to go with that kind of typology of player. We need someone like Kessie in midfield. We need to get another Kessie. Yeah, he's Italian, so go for a USL and the Milan fan. I'm a big fan of Baldanzi, guys. I would love to see Baldanzi come to Milan, absolutely. This player here is good, guys. I'm going to do a little bit more research on him. Let me see his stats. But yeah, just my first impression is I'm just seeing like a normal player, to be honest with you. Okay, so he's 21 now. He's 21. Not a great rating, SOFA score. He played 37 games, started 19, so he's coming off the bench a lot. 5 goals, that's pretty good. 4 assists, 9 goal contribution in Serie A as a non-starter. Those are good numbers. Let's see. Opposition have 75%. That's not bad. Own half 90%, accuracy per game 90%. Not bad, not bad. Could be an interesting prospect, guys. I'll give him that. I'll put him in that category. Interesting prospect. Pioli wants SMS. Yeah, 100%. I personally think we listen to Berlusconi play with two strikers and drop this cam thing. Yeah. Berlusconi would not be happy with the cam thing. Yeah, he wants two strikers. He wanted two strikers. Lurk says Inter is getting SMS. We're going for players like this while Inter are going after SMS, Koulibaly, Hakimi. Yes, exactly. And going back to the conversation that I had yesterday with Antonio about this Rocco guy that is on the other YouTube channels, he cannot complain that oh my God, I'm upset. I'm Maldini because Inter beat Milan last year 4 times. If we go for these kind of players, while they go for the SMSs, the Koulibalys, and Hakimi, the same shit will happen next year. So that narrative is a bad narrative. Inter's not getting SMS. Sucic is cheaper than Samardzic, and Liverpool wanted him next year. Why don't we go for Sucic for God's sake? They're going to replace Brozovic with SMS. I don't know, Ernesto. Those are two different type of players. SMS is not a regista. SMS is more of a mezzala. SMS is a mezzala that can also play, but he's not a regista. SMS does not organize the midfield with his passing and all of that. Actually, SMS passing stats are not that great, to be honest with you. His qualities are the incursions. The incursions are his major qualities. Milan didn't only beat us 4 times, but they're beating us in the market. Well, you mean Inter. Low tier rumor, but Roma are in talks to sign Verratti on loan with option to buy. Man, that would be nice for them. Yeah, but today there'll be a meeting with Inzaghi, and there's the temptation to try and go for Milinkovic-Savic to replace Brozovic. Okay, so if they're doing that, I think they're not replacing the position. They're just swapping one player for the other. That means that probably means Çalhanoğlu is going to just become the new regista of the team. Something like that. Okay. I see. All right, guys. Listen, we've covered everything for today. The news today was a little bit better. Yeah, I'm still very disappointed with the whole Maldini thing. And I do think that we lost a very important piece of the puzzle, but life does go on. Let's see how we do. And yeah, let's keep at it. All right, guys, everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. Make sure you click that like button, and if you have not, subscribe to the channel. And we will see you tomorrow for the next Milan newscast. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Let's see what the rest of the day brings. Milan are the most financially stable club, but still Roma can steal players from us, and Inter can go high-profile signings while we're stuck with Moneyball. That's right. That is what Milan is right now. AC algorithm. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your guys' participation. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We will see you tomorrow for another edition of Milan News. Forza Milan and Forza Maldini. Peace out. Have a great day wherever you are.